Hello, hello. Today I'm going to be doing my first commentary video. Before I've just been posting some of the games I've played, but people have been asking for commentary, so I decided to give it a go. Hopefully this goes well. Today it's going to be a 3v3 on Farmland against the Brigade clan, and they are from Germany. I've had a couple good games against these guys. The last game we played, they beat me, so this is a little bit of a grudge match. Trying to get some dignity back after the spanking they gave me. So right away I brought up one light machine gun, and we are playing the Russians and they are playing the Germans, so the infantry is pretty equivalent, with the Germans getting a better light machine gun, but the Russians getting a better submachine gun. So it's pretty equal starting out in general. The exception being that the Soviets get a much better Jeep. So don't get a Jeep as Germany against the Soviets, because they're probably going to kill you. So as my second thing I brought up is another light machine gun. I've done individual buying as opposed to buying a squad, because I wasn't intending on pushing right away. I was just going to kind of sit here and hold. So I don't need a whole lot of riflemen, but another light machine gun will do a lot of help, do a lot of damage, I guess is better to say. So right now I'm just kind of probing. I'm just trying to see how his defenses are set up without losing too many of my own guys. Well, not letting him push because he feels like he's being pushed. So I've got my light machine gun setting up shooting, and I've called it a half track. This is going to be the first attempt I try at pushing. My first attempt at pushing. That sounds kind of strange. Anyway, here goes my half track. Half tracks are really fun on this map, Farmland, because of the myriad of obstacles which you can kind of dart your half track in and out of, especially when tanks or 222s are hunting it, as well as the fact that infantry can rip the 50 cals off of the half tracks. So half tracks are always a pretty good buy, usually very cost effective. In this case, I see that my enemy has bought an AT rifle. AT rifles having been buffed in the past patch, so it's a pretty good counter to a half track. So right away, I think about trying to kill it, but instead I decide I'm going to try to run my half track back, because I want to be able to rip the 50 cal off, and if I leave it too close, he's probably going to steal it, and that could be very bad. So I run it away and try to kill the guy, but he's probably going to get my half track. I realize this. I mean, even in my best attempts, I'm unsuccessful when he gets it, so no worries. I'm trying to take this left-hand side, because I know if I take this left-hand side, it's going to cut him off. So I rip out the 50 cal out of the half-track, as well as some medkits to keep the guy alive, and run him over there. It's always a good idea to rip the heavy machine guns and light machine guns out of vehicles when you can. Really help out. So right away, my 50 cal guy is having a good time, just shooting down some infantry. And my enemy notices this. He knows what's going on here. So he tries to run his LMG over to kill my 50 cal. He's unsuccessful. So the next thing I bring up is a bazooka, because the obvious call-in when you have a lot of infantry in an area is probably going to be a 222. You're going to see some sort of 20mm anti-infantry vehicle coming in to clear you out, just as kind of a panic buy. A bazooka is a good counter, especially if they don't know you have it. My poor infantry that was donated to me by my ally is not doing so well. So I have them toss some smoke grenades to try to provide some cover, but I'm not really too worried about them. Honestly, if they die and I decap the flag, it's worth it. So I have some more partisans coming up. It's always good to keep a constant stream of infantry when you can, just because you need to keep the flags decapped, and if you don't have infantry out, you're not much good. So here I am trying to bazooka. I come from the wrong angle, so my bazooka guy is unsuccessful. However, the weapon is still useful. It's still on the ground there, and so I send a guy to pick it up. And he shoots and misses horribly, and that's why you don't pay tank crew the big bucks. My next attempt is a 50 cal guy. He's been ever so useful. So he manages to peg it right from the side, and that 222 is dead. Excellent job. whatever your name is. I think it started with a B. So it shows the power of 50 cal, especially in the close-in circumstances that this map provides. I'm sure that was a rather crushing moment for my opponent. So right now I don't have many units out in the field, and that is because I am banking. I know that we're going to see some P3Js or some Hs or some Gs out from Germany because they're being pushed pretty hard. So that's the logical call. I don't go for the T-34-76. Instead I'm saving for the 57 because I think it's a superb tank. The gun on it is really fantastic. And I also am looking to see how far charge is. Charge having been changed in the last patch for the Soviets to be extremely useful. It now gives you a whole bunch of infantry, which is fantastic for pushing. So I'm pretty well set up right now. If I haven't said it before, my allies are Thompson-Nagant and Loiiba, and our opponents are Brigade, so just in case. But that aside, I am bringing up a sniper, a T-34-57, and a whole bunch of infantry in the form of charge. So I'm pretty well set up for a push. I just have to clear out some of these tanks that the Germans have brought up to try to stop our evil plans. So here we go. They brought up an Ostwind, which dies pretty quickly. The turn on the Ostwind only having about 8mm of armor. Even an 18 rifle will take it out. And now I'm going over to the right-hand side to try to take out the P3J that I know is sitting over here. It's always good to do this if you have a superior tank out. Try to kill all of the tanks on the field. That way you get the most out of your investment that you can. So here I am, trying to shoot this tank before it hides behind the house. And boom, I managed to get it. So another P3J is coming out. They probably bought this before they saw I had the 57. So I'm going to try to kill this one as well. 57 having a very good weapon, much better than the 3Js. So it's able to kill these tanks pretty easily, while remaining relatively unscathed. So boom, 3 tanks down for the investment in my 57. It came at a perfect time, and that was pretty lucky on my part. So now I've set up another push on the left-hand side here. I've got the charge as well as the snipers. So I'm going to try to use those to push this side. I'm going to take the snipers out of the car. It's a very nice car, but they're not very good at shooting from it. So out they go. Meanwhile, my ally is telling me to shoot down this HMG, and I tell my tank to attack ground there, hoping that it'll take care of the machine gun itself, and I can micro elsewhere. It's always a good idea to do that if there's no major threats to your tank at the time. Just have it attack ground on the areas you want it to shoot, and micro elsewhere. So I've also brought up a T-60, which is the Russian 20mm tank. It's very, very effective, and I like this tank a lot. Well, I move my snipers to the left-hand side on this hill to get a good vantage point. I see he's bringing up infantry, trying to set up this MG, but my sniper will be able to take him out before he can do much damage. Snipers are very good to push with, especially when you get a good angle of them. So there's some more tanks coming up right now. He's brought up a Hetzer as well as a G, so these tanks are equal or superior to 57. Especially the Hetzer, which can be very tricky to kill because of the high angle of the tank's frontal armor. So the Hetzer gets me. I probably could have done a bit better with the 57, but I wasn't too upset. Now I'm pushing over on this left-hand side while taking my T-60 here and hiding it behind these rocks, like I mentioned earlier. And he's brought up another 222. So the T-60 versus the 222. The T-60 has a bit of an advantage in a front-on battle. So I'm not too worried about the 222. I am worried about the pack gun he set up behind there, as well as the Hetzer. As you can see, because I'm hiding behind these rocks, they're having a difficult time killing me, even though they have way superior firepower. So here I run up my T-60 to try to attract this Hetzer, because the T-60 can penetrate it from the side, which was unfortunately unsuccessful. So take a couple shots at the T-22, also unsuccessful, and then I hide behind the rocks. Meanwhile, I'm trying to flank this AT gun. If I can take out the AT gun, it will put me in a good situation. And my ally has managed to kill the Hetzer with his T-34-85 that he's brought up in the background. T-34-85 being an excellent tank, and the Germans having spent so much on light vehicles now, they're a little bit behind, and so we won't see many Tigers or anything else. Valiant infantry running up to try to kill this AT gun isn't too successful, as my opponent had brought up a fresh squad of infantry, which saw all of them right away. Always an awkward situation. So T-60 shooting at the rock, because rocks are evil, as well as my snipers pecking off more and more of the enemy infantry. It just shows how effective these snipers can be when put at a good angle. They're also really good for spotting. They tell you when infantry is in an area with that little highlighted crosshair you can see. So my enemy's brought up a Puma, which is an interesting choice against this T-60, because you can dive at a T-60, as you can see. The Puma having very big armor. Here I am, trying to shoot this AT gun. I know that if I can shoot just a little bit to the left of the AT gun, the explosive round of the 20mm T-60 shell will kill it without exposing my tank. But that doesn't work out too well this time. Maybe next time. So my ally has brought up a T-34-85 and has left it on my side. Very effective. A nice gift. He's covering me while I push up and take this flag. Unfortunately, he's left the middle exposed as he's been helping me out. Just because they ran infantry up there, it's no big deal. He just has some infantry that he needs to move in. So as soon as he does that, we should be able to capture this flag back. Until then, I've brought some infantry over there to try to decap it, just to make sure they're not ticking up points, if I can help it. Meanwhile, I've got a guy repairing this 222 that's been generously donated to my cause. So we'll see how that works out later in the game. It's always fun if you can repair and steal enemy vehicles. I mean, why not? I've also brought up an HMG, a heavy machine gun here. And I'm putting this in the water here because the water HMGs are pretty tough to kill, and they'll cover this approach, as well as the side of the hill. And so if I can cover this side where the HMG is, as well as this left-hand side where my sandbag is, and I'm putting infantry right now, he's pretty well choked off from that point. Even if I can't control the point, he can't either. So there's always two good points to take when you're playing this map. Meanwhile, I've brought up more infantry for the middle. I'm like, trying to grenade this middle area, because I know there's infantry in there. That guy, however, listened to me a little bit too specifically. I want him to do what I mean and not exactly what I tell him, so he grenades it and kills everybody around him. Which I blame on him and instinct for coding silly AI, not my stupidity. So here we go, I brought up a half-track and I see that he's moved up his AT gun here, and I'm thinking, hey, I can just run this half-track out and maybe steal this. If not, maybe run it over and make sure that this T-22 is actually dead. So I do this, and then I think that it's decrewed, but it's not. It's got one more guy, and you can't tell it until it's been totally decrewed. So pop goes the weasel, he's decrewed, and now I'm trying to run away with it. My enemy is going to probably respond to this by bringing up, yep, another 222. So right away, I try to drop the gun and get some guys in it to shoot this 222 if I can. But in my panic, I've sent... Oh god, that's painful to watch even now. In my panic, trying to get into the repaired 222, I tell my guys to grenade it. So once again, boom. And I lose the repaired 222, as well as a crap ton of my guys that I just brought up. Can't win them all. So here I am, stripping some more 50 cals, and at this point, they've lost so much stuff that they're really far behind. And so, looking like a definite victory for us in this 3v3 ranked game on Farmland. Here I am trying to rambo it up, shoot down this 222. I am unsuccessful. The 222 drivers is being too clever for me today. I have this AT gun and I noticed just now that the barrel is not repaired. It's in the red, so it can't shoot, so it's of absolute no use. It's more of a trophy than anything else at this point. So, turn to my alternative, which is a bazooka dude. So, bazooka dude's gonna hide there to hold off the 222. If I had noticed the bazooka dude sooner, I probably could have done a bit more damage with them. And the 2-2 was just throwing about, but I didn't. So up comes a 2-2-2, and I brought forward another T-34-57 because I think these tanks are awesome. Which makes pretty quick work of the armored car. After it destroys my HMG, however. No worries. Still in a good situation. So now I want to push and take this flag back, because you always want to push your flag as much as you can. So I need to bring out more infantry, and I do that in the form of some assaults, as well as some regulars that I bought before, as well as I see that he has AT infantry in the form of Brandenburgs or Panzer Grenadiers in here, and he's just waiting for my tank to move up. So what do is I do not move up my tank, and I do buy a half-track. A half-track is a good thing when you have AT infantry countering you, because if you use a half-track, it's no big deal. You can still rip off the 50 cal, and it'll chew through AT infantry, as well as it's pretty quick and hard to kill. So, incoming half-track, it's coming in, and until then I'm just setting up some sandbags to strengthen my position, waiting for my rear end, and making sure that my tank is far away from Panzerfaust that he's trying to run for. Unsuccessful, but not today. So here comes my half-track over the hill. He's gonna hide behind those rocks there, so I'm gonna go in the one direction there's not a whole lot of rocks, which is over the hill. And as you can see here, he's got a whole bunch of AT infantry that launches their Panzerfaust right over the top of my half-track. So that's a good strategy when you know you're coming into AT infantry, is send infantry and a half-track. Because if you lose the half-track, it doesn't matter. So he's sending up another 222. There's my disgruntled assessment of that, and we managed to take the point. At this point, we have all 5 flags, or I'm not sure, there's probably more than 5, 7 flags decapped. So we're in a very favorable position. So on that note, our enemies start to panic, get very concerned, and great game to our opponents. Hopefully we see you guys in game soon. Thanks for watching. And so with that comes the end of my first commentary video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.